What up? Hope y'all are doing good. It's the O Show. Firing it up a little bit early today, because it is time for more Dungeon World. This is our 6th episode of the Saga Broken Blades, my Viking themed Dungeon World campaign. This shit is well and truly hitting the fan for our heroes. Get into it, shall we? Glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Especially you ride or die motherfuckers right here at the top.
Somebody who's willing to listen and someone who's willing to pay, though.
Yeah. What up, y'all?
Hey, Dave.
Were you done planning? Do you need a moment? I can give you 1.2 moments if you need.
Okay.
But that's the maximum amount.
I'd like to use the full 1.2 if I may.
Alright, well I won't listen to your plans then. But, I'll be back in just 1.2 moments, alright?
Alright.
Alright, we'll give them 1.2 moments. While they're taking 1.2 moments, looking back at our previous episodes, let me give you the quickest rundown in the history of all time. We have Ed of the Fair, former judge in these lands. We have Bruce Jotunson, a raider, a Viking, you would call it. Even though Viking is a thing you do, you go on a Vic. It's actually Viking. Anyway, all the characters, save for Sigmund, are from this village Oddstad. Oscar, a man of the woods, spends most of his time out here at Skavgard, his own little camp by the Volcar, keeps an unofficial eye on the Volcar. And then Sigmund, hailing from Ugathwaite, a ancient keep protecting secret natural philosophies amongst the dangerous Volcar forest, where histories are kept safe. So Sigmund's a bard, Bruce is a fighter, Ed is a paladin, Oscar is a ranger. Their story so far involved innocently being sent out to serve some justice on the grounds of Hakestead, witnessing Hake's place being burned, finding evidence of a potential alliance between orcs and men to do something nefarious. They traveled to the Volcar. They saw hostages being taken into there. Decided to head back to Oddstad. Upon returning, things started to hit the fan with regard to some of the more nefarious things that the party got up to amongst their travels. Without going into too much depth, all the episodes are available on YouTube if you want to catch up. But we find ourselves today in a situation where Oddstad is literally being attacked by the Lugdog clan of orcs right now. They're disarmed right now. They're embattled right now. So I'll be genuinely curious to see how those Duke boys get themselves out of this mess.
Transcended.
That was 1.2, exactly.
Oh my god.
Alright. We're gonna begin. The first thing I want to begin with is actually talking about the rules just a little bit. So, I have the steading rules up on the screen here, and there's a condition called embattled. When a steading is surrounded by enemy forces, it suffers losses. If it fights back with force, it gets minus defenses, which isn't really going to be a possibility. If it instead tries to wait out the attack, it gets minus population. If its new population is shrinking or less, then it's going to lose the tag of my choice. So, due to this embattled state, because even if the Lugdog are thwarted here, they've still spilled out of the Volkard. They've still taken lands west of the Volker, particularly spreading, as you can now see, obviously, into the Feldergrens. Kind of taking that southern arc there. So the embattled state would continue, which means that after, or due to this attack, the Oddstad is going to get minus population. So the current population of Oddstad is shrinking, which means the population is less than it once was. Buildings stand empty, and we've kind of made that clear through description. But after this, you know, it's not like a switch that flips, but as a result of this, the population is going to shrink to exodus, meaning the steading has lost its population and is on the verge of collapse, which I think we can all agree would be the result of this. And I'm thinking the tag I'm going to drop, since we've already talked about it a little bit, is the resource of lumber, because you don't have any able-bodied folks to
chop the wood.
Right, and
Yeah.
keep the orcs away. But it does mean that the defenses will stay at the militia status, which is essentially indicative of heroes like Bercy and, you know, people that have had previous battle experience coming to arms. Y'all are included in that a little bit, honestly. But that's definitely a tag that could go away too, those defenses. So I wanted to talk about that embattled state, so you get an idea of what's going on as far as the steading rules to Oddstad as a result of this. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So what is the first scene? Where do we begin? Tell me.
Edda's having a flashback.
So the first scene of episode 6 is a flashback. So everyone's sitting here expecting this fucking cliffhanger action from last episode. We're coming in with a flashback. Alright, alright.
Cool looping.
Describe it to me.
Edda is remembering the time she was 12 years old and the orcs last raided Oddstad.
Okay.
She's with Bruce, and we're in the Feldergrens. Now, the last time the orcs raided, they weren't as smart as they seem to be now, or as clever, and they just marched in straight from the east, so we saw them coming. And the fighting men and women stayed behind to battle, and the children and the elderly and the non-fighting men and women ran into the Feldergrins to sort of hide from the orcs while the fighting was happening. So Bruce and Etta have been playing at swords.
So Bruce and Etta are young and they're hiding in the Feldergrins while the adults battle the last time the orcs attacked Odstadt, I guess about 10 years ago. Okay.
But Bruce and Etta have been playing at swords together since they were old enough to hold a stick. So they're pretty confident they could take on an orc or two. And maybe there's a couple orcs who've gone into the Feldergrins, maybe a couple of slavers, trying to pick off some easy targets. And that's where I was thinking we could start our flashback. Etta and Bruce trying to take on an orc. Young Etta and Bruce.
So orc slavers sneak in. And that's where you want to begin. Alright, well, let's pull up a little map action so we can draw. Make sure you zoom out a bit there. And then draw it for me.
Okay, I still see the main map. Is that what I'm drawing on, or are we making a new one?
No, I dragged you guys over. Let me try it again.
Yeah, I see the new one.
No.
Let me refresh Roll20. Hold on. Okay, good.
You good?
Yeah.
Alright. I mean, you could just use blobs or what have you, but...
Make it look really misty, like a proper flashback.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of details are missing.
So maybe like... Odstad's up there. And this is maybe the edge of the Feldergrins. And there's an orc slaver there who's kind of snuck in. And there's a tree. I'm going to make it brown.
You can help, Zeus. You're here too.
Make it a Bruce.
Making some trees. So, Bruce, drag your little bee next to me. So we're like hiding behind this tree. Etta's got...
Etta and Bruce, willful children, have snuck a little bit away from the main group of folks hiding in the Feldergrins. And maybe it's fortunate that they did, because they found just one orc slaver creeping up.
You know, as I look to you for guidance as the dungeon master, if you think just one orc slaver is enough of a challenge for Etta and Bruce, 12-year-old Etta and Bruce.
Why don't you just roll me a d6?
Okay. So there's two orc slavers.
What font size did y'all use?
I used 100.
100, yeah.